This is a brief introduction to the November 2015 topic of Claiming Our Greatness, which is Patrick Lecture 212. I do these video introductions a little bit into the month when I've figured out perhaps better ways to colloquialize or give popular examples of the lecture. I make a full study guide, which is available online with lecture quotes and trying to make the concept relevant and understandable. And then when I do the weekly free teleconferences, as we go back and forth in discussion, I find different ways to illustrate the lectures. And that's what I try to bring to these video clips. One of the things that I have noticed is that just with the title, Claiming Your Greatness, Claiming Our Greatness, people react to this as if they have to do something, as if they have to earn it or go through a process. When if you look at the phrase claiming neutrally, what it is suggesting that you're already there, and the invitation is simply to claim it. So I use silly examples, such as you already own the mink coat, you got the hat check receipt, just go claim the mink coat. Pathwork is about recognizing that we are here in human form to improve ourselves, to do work. The term purify is used very often, and purify technically means to put something in the fire so that it burns off the impurities and leaves behind what you truly want, what you value, that's been covered up with stuff. And that's that essence of the word purify is a very useful way to think of this process, that we've accumulated layers and layers of gunk. People saying, oh, you're not that good, and oh, you don't deserve that much. When on a spiritual level, every single person on the planet has come here for a reason, under spiritual guidance. Now that's very difficult to understand considering all the terrorism and violence, wars, cheating, people ruining economies for their own benefit. And yet, each individual, when you look at their personal story, has a place in them of greatness, of the potential for greatness. And so again, this lecture is about inviting us to step into that more fully, one step at a time. And as we hit layers and layers of gunk, to dissolve, purify, transform, liquefy, whatever visualization makes sense to you, so that we can become more and more of who we actually were. One of the things that I feel very strongly, supported by the Patrick Lectures, which I am very passionate about, is that when people feel bad about something, they're not fully aware that the only way you can feel bad about something is if you have something good to compare it to. Now, in the real world, we can feel bad because Mommy said I was bad. But if Mommy said you were a lamb, you would still know you were a person. It would be irrational. So what Patrick presents is that when someone critiques you, especially someone you love, what is happening is they're touching upon something that you already feel doubt about. And what Pathwork did for me personally was it showed me that that doubt in me was part of my incarnatory process. My spirit knows about that doubt. I've come here to address it. So in claiming our greatness, the doubts that arise about whether we're great or not have to do with the parts of us that we haven't addressed, and even parts that we don't know about, and yet we do a little bit. So we know that we're not working as hard as we could. We know that we've missed something sometimes. In the lecture, there are three reasons given for not stepping into your greatness. And one of them is feeling that if we open up and examine ourselves and look at ourselves, that we will find evil, that we will find out that we are bad. My belief, and what I suggest to people when I work with them, is that's fear-based. I very often refer to the childhood story of Chicken Little, where Chicken Little has a drop of water that falls on its head and starts screaming, "The sky is falling," and then runs around saying, "The sky is falling," and everybody becomes terrified. And you create a mob sense of panic. Nobody looks up and says, "What do you mean the sky is falling? What will that look like? What does it feel like? How can the sky fall?" The idea that you are evil, inherently evil, is a misconception. It's a distortion that humanity has used in its evolutionary process to try to motivate people into doing things differently. So when a child is naughty, you might say, "Oh, bad girl." It's not politically correct and it's not effective, but we do that. We say, "Oh, bad girl, bad boy." Instead of saying, "Oh, you've done something incorrectly, let me show you the correct way," or "let me find the reason why you felt the need to do that." And it's a very difficult process to treat a child like a therapist would treat a patient, and yet that's ultimately good parenting, to support the child in the mistake that it has made. So we use shortcuts. Bad girl, don't do that. Well, as a society, we do similar things. It is very hard to function as a society and respect everyone's individual needs and distortions and work with everybody on a deep level. So society itself takes shortcuts. What happens is we forget their shortcuts. So yes, we can be evil, but the majority of human beings are not evil. They're not evil-based. Evil is defined as knowing and not caring. Please consider that. To know you are causing pain and destruction, and to not care. Now, it looks sometimes like that's what people are doing. But only that person knows whether that's an act of bravado, an act of defense, an act of reaction against pain that they have felt, in effect, revenge for hurts that they perceive have been, struggling for the word. In other words, somebody did it to me, I'm doing it back to you. That's the essence of revenge. So even though they may act like they know and don't care, very often underneath, deep down, they do care. So real evil is more rare than we give it credit for. Now I'm going into this because the fear of evil is listed in this lecture as a reason we don't look at ourselves. If you can feel the discrepancy there, or the catch-22, I'm afraid I'm evil, so I won't look. And of course, if I don't look, I won't find even a fragment of evil that I have collected along the way and misinterpreted and not noticed. So the idea that if I look, I will find that I'm a horrible, terrible human being is fear-based. It is based upon the idea that I can be a totally evil person, or someone so bad that no one would love or accept me. And again, the Patrick lectures for me have given me a better platform to work from, in that they say we are all here for a reason. And pain is a part of the process. Pain is how we grow and are motivated. It's a feedback loop for us as human beings. So I hope you will take a look at the study guide. I hope you'll read the lecture. It can be downloaded from the Pathwork website, and the links are in the information under this video. Thanks for listening. The subject in December of 2005 will be Pathwork Lecture 254, Surrender. And as I speak, we are experiencing the new waves of violence from terrorism. And so I am struck by the fact that I have chosen the lecture on surrender for December and trying to figure out how I can communicate how that might actually be relevant, the form of surrender talked about in the guide, not abdication of responsibility and not caring, but a true level of acceptance. So I enjoyed the Pathwork lectures, and I hope you do too. Thanks for listening.